Everyone, in this video, we're going to be talking about routines, what they are, how to create them, and a few examples to get your brain thinking in the right direction. Most AI tools are reactive. You ask a question, they answer, you give them a task, they run it. But a lot of the most valuable work inside a company shouldn't have to wait for someone to remember to ask. And so that's what routines are for in MemoryHub. Routine is a way to say, when this happens or on the schedule, run this memory-powered workflow, and here's all the context to do it correctly. And so in Memory Hub, a routine is, you can think of it as a chain or a skill of chains bound to a trigger. The brain is the context, the calls, the docs, the code, the CRM notes, decisions, the prior work, the agents use, all of that is stored in a brain. A skill is a procedure. So how do you run a PR? How do you summarize a call? How do you draft a follow-up? Or, how do you extract product feedback from a call? And that's a skill. A routine is what makes the procedure run automatically, right? So the simple model is brain is the memory, skill is how the work gets done, and then the routine is when it runs. And so there's two ways to create a routine. The first is through a guided routine builder in the UI, as you can see right here. You can start by naming the routine. Oh, first of all, you can choose what's the trigger. Is it on a schedule? Is it when new context lands? Is it from a pull request, right? From an engineering perspective. And so So let's take a look at that, right? On a schedule, this is where you can set it. Is it weekly? Is it daily? Is it monthly? And all the different frequencies in between. And then you can ask it or give it the prompt of what is it actually doing and where to store that output. So another thing you can do too is more advanced features. So if you want something where it actually sends you an email with the results, you can check that toggle. And then if you wanted to update CRM, especially for like a go-to-market or sales type of scenario, you can do that as well. And then you can connect, this is where you can connect those skills. So these are all the skills that you've created within the skills tab, and now you can actually select it and figure out which ones to run. And you can select multiple as well, but this is where you would go into the other way of creating a routine, which is in Studio. Another example of creating a routine is when new context lands. And so there's two different ways about this. One is when a document lands in a brain, and this could be a doc uploaded by a user, pulled from a URL, it could arrive from Fathom, for example, whatever your call recording tool is. And it can also arrive when an artifact is saved to a brain. And so this is especially useful when you want a follow-up workflow after an agent delivers something, right? For engineering workflows, this could be a GitHub trigger. A routine can run when a pull request is open, so feedback is ready on the first read, or it can run when a pull request is merged, so that summary reflects what actually landed on the base branch. Then what you can do is tell the routine what it should do in plain language, and then select the brain where the output should be stored. And so there's different ones. You can select it based on the account that you're managing, like a sales account. It could be based on the repo that you want it to save to. So there's a lot of different ways to go about it. And then you would attach the specific skill. And if you don't attach skill, the agent can just run that goal directly and then figure out what skills are needed. Now, the second way to actually go about and create a skill is through Studio. And so if I go through Studio, what you can do is simply just talk to it like you would a normal person about what type of routine you want to run. And so in this case, this is the one that I created. Again, yours could be very different, but in this case, it's, after a customer call lands in my go-to-market brain, summarize the call, extract the commitments, next steps, draft a follow-up email, and then ultimately, email me the summary. So I have a whole idea of what happened, what needs to be done, etc. Now you can even turn this into more advanced routine where it actually goes out and does those things. So for example, if a customer says, I want to see a one page of how X-Trace integrates with my technology, well, the agent can actually run the skill to create that one pager with the context that it has of X-Trace, and also it can do deep research on that company as well, and then merge it together in that one pager. Same with if you want to do a PowerPoint, Excel, etc. As long as you have those skills or built out those skills, you can run those skills through a routine. So let's go through this, and I'm going to fast forward to the point where it actually is done thinking and has all those things. So right here, you can see that it figures out, so which brain should it watch for, right? In terms of new calls, I'll just select one here. It doesn't matter really, but you usually want to select a brain because the call's pulling into a brain, and now you want to select that brain to really actually do the analysis on. And I also added here too, I want it from every Fathom call because Fathom is what we're using to, say, record our call notes. And so now I'm just kind of redirecting and steering it in a way that makes the most sense to me and how I work. Okay, perfect. So it is basically created. I don't want it to create, but this is just to give an example of what that process looks like. Now, if we actually go into routines, what you can see here is that there are a few already built out. So some of them could be engineering use cases. So in this case, for example, the daily engineering digest, this is where I get to have an understanding if I was an engineering manager about all the things that were committed, through the past day or past week. And then I can run even a routine on every time an PR opens. Instead of doing generic code review, it reviews the change against the team's actual memory. So the architecture decisions, previous regressions, testing conventions, and known risks. And the output could be a PR comment with the findings, plus an artifact written back to the brain that says what changed, what risk was found, what decisions the PR touched. Another example too is, for example, maybe like this is the one that I created originally in the past, which is from Otter. And so this is another example where, after a call is finished, the recording, the transcript lands in the brain, and then the routine classifies that call. It extracts the commitments, drafts, and then it sends it into a concise summary. Another one you can do too is like even like a product feedback, right? Like after a customer meeting, the routine, extracts product insights and then put them into a customer feedback brain, and then that could automatically even create a linear ticket for the engineering team to look at. And so the whole point of this is AI agents are only as powerful as three main things. What can it see, what can it do, and what context it has. And so with routine, it is doing the seeing, it is doing the doing. And now with the brain, it is connected with the right context. And so there's a lot of less hand-holding and micromanaging with these agents, is that it can actually go about and do the things that you would do because it has the context that you have. And so ultimately, just to summarize, right, a brain stores what the team knows, a skill packages how the team does something really well, and then a routine makes it happen at the right moment. And so that's really the compounding loop here. So like every call, every PR, every document, every artifact can make the brain more useful, and every future run gets smarter because of it. So Memory Hub routines are how operational memory becomes automatic. Thank you.